Around the end of 2023, I decided that I had enough, literally and figuratively. I had many of the markers of success that, by Western societal standards, should have made me happy. A nice home in an upscale neighborhood. That home had a nice home office. I could work remotely from there. I had a large library of books, some of which I purchased with the intention of reading, but never got around to it. I had a wardrobe of clothes, some of which I never wore. I went above and beyond to style my home with furniture that created a nice vibe, a nice ambiance. And I had a really good paying job that allowed me to finance my lifestyle. But despite all of this, something really never sat well with me. Every time I found myself commuting to work, sitting in pointless meetings, or spending my days focusing my time, my energy around some corporate goal that was far out of alignment with my personal interests and my curiosities, I couldn't help but feel like I was traveling down the wrong path in life. Now, I get it. By society standards, I should have not only been content, but I also should have felt like I'm doing the right thing by climbing the corporate ladder, by building that comfortable and convenient life for myself, by continuously growing and expanding my financial assets. I've been on this health and spiritual journey for many years now. And with each passing year of deep introspection, I felt like I've slowly gravitated towards a greater state of clarity regarding what it is that I really want for myself in this lifetime. It dawned on me that everywhere we look, every direction that we turn, we're being bombarded by messaging from marketers, from our peers, even from prospective romantic partners, messages that distract us from what it is that we truly want, and instead tries to convince us that we want things that we don't actually want. Things that we don't need will actually bring us happiness, right? So for me, the first milestone was understanding that the prevailing narrative places consumerist contingencies on happiness. And the second was getting to a point where I began to fundamentally reject the notion that the pursuit of more, the pursuit of comfort and conveniences, the pursuit of things that convey symbols of status, etc., that these things will bring true and lasting happiness. In fact, I started to believe that the pursuit of more actually does the opposite. It leads to unhappiness. It leads to a lack of gratitude and a mindset of scarcity because we've given external factors the power to dictate our internal state. And when we hand that power over, the world will try its best to convince us that our unhappiness, our boredom, our discomfort, our inconveniences will be cured if we buy whatever thing, whatever service or subscription that they're selling. But in the process, doing so moves us even farther away from the aspects of life that actually makes us feel content and fulfilled. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but I'd argue that financial security and independence is pretty high up there on the list of human desires. I'd argue that being healthy in mind and body, spirit is high on the list of human desires. I'd argue that being able to spend time, however, wherever, and with whoever you want is high up on the list of human desires. Now, the irony is that consumerism moves us away from these ideals. It places us in a state of greater financial insecurity. And because the financial insecurity persists, we must now depend on a job that, for many, has deleterious effects on physical and mental health. And because we're working this job, we also can't spend our time with who, how, and where we please. It's only after I genuinely started to believe that the pursuit of more stuff and this consumerist lifestyle is not only misguided, but it's actually a hindrance for me in my life. I knew that significantly downsizing and simplifying my life would be a major piece of my grander life strategy. Getting rid of most of my material possessions would be the first step in creating more space for myself, more physical, mental, financial space, and to be able to explore pathways that enable me to truly feel gratitude and be fully present in this journey of life as an explorer to ultimately realize my life's greater purpose. But what is my purpose in life? That's like a very important question to know, right? Now, I always say that finding what makes you feel fulfilled, finding your purpose, is not necessarily an easy task. So I use this process called anti-visioning to find my greatest pain points in life. And then I use those pain points to direct me towards my purpose. Or another way to look at it is your most basic purpose in life is to alleviate the pain points that are present in your life today. So my top pain points included feeling like I was being forced to sacrifice my health in the name of feeding the capitalist machine, not being able to spend my time freely exploring interesting ideas and engaging with like-minded people who are also interested in entrepreneurship, interested in self-improvement, health, and other things that I really like, other things that I'm really passionate about. The other is feeling like my potential to do great things was being stifled by having to direct most of my energy towards my 9-to-5 job instead of towards my passions. And then lastly, it was feeling like unnecessary obligations and liabilities were preventing me from exercising my geographic freedom, my geographic autonomy, right? Now, let's see what happens when I take these pain points and I envision what life looks like without them. So I just take the opposite. In this scenario, I have plenty of time and flexibility to make my health and wellness a priority every single day. I'm able to freely dive deep into different topics, into different projects that interest me. And for me, that specifically means pursuing a life goal of learning a second language, starting and growing my wellness business, learning a wide array of new skills, developing new areas of expertise. Third is my life would be much more worry-free because I've minimized my obligations and my liabilities to the bare essentials for my lifestyle. The other is that my work will allow me to tap into my knowledge, my creativity, my skills, and my unique perspective of the world based on my personal experiences. Now, simplifying this into a few words that are easier to keep in my back pocket, I can say that the following are values that will guide me to my greater life purpose. And those values are health, autonomy, connectedness, simplicity, and peace. Now, what's notable about this list is that it really has nothing to do with the markers of success in Western society, particularly in the United States. In fact, the traditional success measures are by and large antithetical to this ideal lifestyle that I just painted. So this leads me to deciding to get rid of just about everything that I own. And the important thing here is that I'm not looking to get rid of stuff just for the sake of getting rid of it. That's not a very helpful approach, but in doing the work to really understand myself and what it is that brings me joy and fulfillment, that helps me to be more specific with what I decide to keep and what I decided to eliminate from my life. Before I continue on, I just want to say that a lot of the lessons that I've learned in life have come from reading tons and tons of books over the years. Now, the great thing about books is that they open everyday people like you and me up to the vast trove of knowledge that's been put into the world by some of the greatest minds that have ever lived. And in a world where brain rot is becoming a real problem thanks in large part to ultra short form content and social media, I truly think that taking the time to read really good books gives a person a lot of the knowledge and wisdom that they need to separate themselves and really level up in this journey that we call life. At least that's certainly been the case for me. Now, while I think reading physical books is best, if that's not your thing, then you can also just listen to audiobooks and still come away with understanding the key themes and concepts that you can employ for yourself. So today I'm sharing with you a list of some of the life-changing books that I've read in the hopes that you'll also find them useful for yourself. All you have to do is click the link in the description below, and when you enter your info, you'll immediately receive an email from me with the book list. Now back to the video. Since I have more clarity on what my anti-vision, my vision, my purpose are, I can selectively yet ruthlessly eliminate anything in my life that doesn't align with my purpose to great effect. And that's exactly what I did. So if it doesn't actively bring me health, autonomy, connectedness, simplicity, or peace, then I eliminated it. I put my primary US home, my primary US residence in Chicago on the market because I'm only in Chicago part-time now. So I don't want the stress that comes with owning and maintaining a home on the other side of the world. Now, I should note that I considered converting my home into a rental property, but once again, when weighing the earning potential against the cost of the home in terms of my time, in terms of my peace of mind, etc., I decided it was much better to sell because that was in greater alignment with my values. Now, out of the maybe 100 or 200 books that I owned, I gave away like 95% of them. And this one was particularly difficult because reading is such a fundamental part of my joy. And one might ask, why would I give away my books if I enjoy reading so much? But that's the thing. Books that are sitting on the shelf are not books that are being read. A book that is in the process of being read is a book that's adding value to my life. But a book that I've finished, a book that's sitting on the shelf, it no longer is providing that value to me, right? The value transfer has already taken place, and the physical book then becomes just one more thing that I have to worry about. I have to store it somewhere. I have to maintain it. I have to take it with me if I decide to move to a new home. Now, another thing were clothes. Clothes were a big part of my minimization effort. And this is another one of those things that I think unknowingly brings so much stress into people's lives in the form of clutter, decision fatigue, laundry obligations, storage problems, the stress and anxiety that comes from trying to decide what to wear or what to pack in the case of travel. That's not something that really has a place in my life. What's more is that one of the first things that people look for when buying or renting a new place is closet space. And oftentimes not having enough closet space is a deal breaker because it's not enough to hold all of the clothes that people have accumulated over the years. So situations like this are far removed from my values and from my purpose that I identified earlier in this video. So I donated or tossed about 2/3 of my wardrobe, keeping only the items of clothing that I wear often or are of high enough utility, like raincoats or something like that, right? Now, I also gave away or got rid of all of my household furniture, all of my art, all of my random items that were in my home. If I had a car, I would have sold that too, but fortunately, I already went carless back in 2016 for similar reasons that I'm downsizing today. I got rid of basically everything that I own with very few exceptions. Now, one thing that's quite striking about getting rid of most of the stuff that you own is that you quickly realize that your stuff is not that valuable. No one's willing to pay anything close to what you think that it's worth. And in a lot of cases, depending on what it is, people won't even take your stuff for free. Another thing that probably doesn't come to mind when talking about getting rid of stuff is subscription services. Now, I prefer to read and do other things with my time, so I decided to pull the plug on all of my streaming services that I had, in addition to my Amazon Prime subscription. So what's the result of all of this? Is my life changed for the better? Do I regret it? The short answer is no, I don't regret it. I've reduced my life down to basically whatever I can fit into one large moving box. I don't have that burden of having stuff to weigh me down or prevent me from really exploring the world. I don't have to think about what should I do with all of my stuff whenever some unique opportunity comes along. I've since quit my 9-to-5 job and I've immigrated to Portugal, where I live a much slower, a much more connected, much more purposeful lifestyle, where I'm much more aligned with my values. And one of my values was health. And here in Portugal, I'm able to eat fresh foods. I get fresh air working out outside in the park every day. I also talked about autonomy. So since I drastically reduced my living expenses and my liabilities, I no longer need to depend on income from full-time work. I can now focus on my online entrepreneurship projects. And in doing this, I have far more ability to dictate how I spend my time. I'm also able to travel more freely. So my life, although not perfect, is all around less complicated. I have fewer bills to pay. I have less property and possessions to worry about maintaining. I have more financial freedom, not necessarily because I make so much more money, but because I spend so much less money. I rent a fully furnished apartment now. So whenever it's time for me to move, I won't have the burden of needing to move all of my furniture. I can go anywhere in the world with my box. I can sit my box down and be fully moved in. Also, whenever I decide to move to a new place, I'll never find myself saying things like, there's not enough storage space here or something like that. Like, that's just not an issue anymore. Whenever I visit Chicago, I can just rent an Airbnb for an extended period of time instead of dealing with the burden of owning my home outright. Now, I can go down the list of how much more connected my life is now that I've taken this drastic step to be in more alignment with my values and my purpose. But that will take forever, and that is another video for another day. So I'll just say that in all, I feel so much lighter. I have so much less pressure to live the standard lifestyle that we've been told that we need to live. I have far less physical, mental, emotional clutter. Therefore, I'm able to focus much more of my life energy on things that bring me to true joy and fulfillment, and the things that are nowhere to be found in that consumerism-centric lifestyle. And I'd like to think that you too would benefit from downsizing in your own life in whatever way that aligns with your own values. But to do this, you need to know your anti-vision first, and then your vision, and then your purpose. And on that note, I'll end by saying that if you also feel like you could benefit from simplifying your life, but maybe you're a bit unsure as to how to go about doing things, or if you need a little bit of perspective from someone who has maybe a more objective point of view and someone who's kind of been through the process already, then feel free to schedule a consultation with me. And we'll not only talk about it, but we'll make sure that you walk away from the conversation with more clarity, more actionable steps that you can take to start really creating the life that you want for yourself. So you can schedule a consultation using the links below. All right, everyone, that's all that I have for today. Hope that you enjoyed the message. And until next time, always remember to get up, get out, and get after it. Peace.